What's up, FC fam? Happy Thursday. And guess what's coming soon? It's a deadline. It is dump deadline. Wow, he read my mind. The weekend and Labor Day weekend, all that. That's cool, but that's normal. I mean, I'm looking for something that really has never been done before, and that's the dump deadline. Or it's only been done.
It was done last year.
It was only dumped one time.
The Angels crushed it last year, didn't they?
Yes.
The Angels crushed it to get under the luxury tax, right?
The Angels created the dump deadline.
Yeah, which no one even knew about until last year.
So what are our thoughts on
I think it's stupid.
It's
stupid. I think it's something we tried to avoid, especially for the players. I think that we tried to get to where one trade deadline, July 31st, August 1st, around there. And now teams have invented a new way to try to move guys. Because if you're a player, listen, August 31st deadline, that sucks, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're a player and you're like, oh, I got to move for a month, that sucks. The trade deadline is bad enough. At least you get 2 months. But 1 month, that sucks, man. And then now to do it again, like the player, one of the things about the CBA was they're like, oh, we eliminated the second trade deadline. Yes. And they're like, owners are like, nope, we got you again.
Nope, you didn't. So let's charge the damn mound and go over it.
Charging the mound.
There have been a few moves already, like, the Cubs let loose a Hector Neris. They put Drew Smiley on waivers.
No one claimed him, though, right?
No one. I don't think anyone claimed Smiley or nothing.
Neris obviously is back in Houston now, so that's
there might have been one or two others, but this one to me is a true dump deadline status. The first one that I've seen that has like significant weight, broken by our Ken Rosenthal, who just hosted Fair Territory. Check that out later. But the Giants place Tyler Matzek, Taylor Rogers, and Thairo Estrada all on waivers. Now, they're all unique in their cases, okay? Kratz, did you play with Thairo Estrada, by the way?
Oh, yeah.
Nice. Okay. He was great for about a month and a half last year. He hasn't really hit since. Really good infielder defensively. But he's under team control for one more year. Doesn't have to be. So to me, it's like they're not tendering him. Taylor Rogers is still owed like 12 and change for next year, but he's been really good. I'm expecting him to get picked up by a team. And then Tyler Matzek was just in the trade with the Atlanta Braves in that Jorge Soler deal. He's never even pitched yet for the Giants. He's rehabbing right now. The Braves technically could pick him back up and have a free trade. So those are the three available by the Giants. I would say at least two of them get picked up.
You think?
I think Rogers is getting picked up.
The only thing is the salary for next year. That scares teams away a little bit.
It's 1 year, 12-ish mil.
That still scares teams.
Taylor Rogers could win you a World Series, not by himself. But there are so many teams that need bullpen guys.
Yeah, I agreed. I just don't know that it's going to happen. I just don't know that. I don't know. I hope these guys get to. So if they're placed on waivers, they're not like DFA'd or anything, right? They'd still stay there.
You just scoop them up for free.
No, but I'm saying, like, even if they clear waivers, they still stay on the Giants.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is basically also an opportunity for the Giants. Can they pull them back like they used to be able to pull them back?
No.
No?
No.
Okay.
This is
because
different.
I was going to say, this is a free chance for the Giants to see who's interested in these players for the offseason.
Yeah. It's straight up now. They're on waivers. Any of the other teams can claim them. It goes in order. And then if they don't get claimed, yes, they stay. Then they can do other things. They can DFA them. They can do that whole round. But this first round here of waivers, Kratz, means that anyone can pick these guys up. So what do you think? For me, I think Rogers is a guy who can be a high leverage, at least medium leverage, but really high leverage for a playoff team that needs another bullpen arm. I mean, this is easy money. This is a free trade right here. Thairo Estrada, I think, maybe end of the bench defensive replacement kind of guy, but he hasn't hit.
He hasn't hit this year, but he can play all three infield positions, third, short, and second. He's not going to be your starting shortstop, but he can definitely fill in if you need some right-handed help off the bench. If you're not hitting lefties very well, he's a little bit better versus lefties, but Rogers is the easy one. If you want to pick up Rogers for next year, it's only $12 million for a guy who currently has a 2.45 ERA. You know who I see him going to? I see him going to the Orioles. And the only reason I say that is because he doesn't strike out a ton of guys unless he hits them in the face when he strikes them out. Then there's that. But it's just like teams need more bullpen pieces. Even if you're only going to throw him in the sixth inning, to me, I think you can slot him in 7, 8 in most bullpens and push some of your other guys to the sixth. But I think it's Rogers here. I don't think Matzek gets picked up.
First of all, I just want to clarify this because now that I'm the fact checker, Taylor's the lefty. Tyler's the one who hit the guy in the face, right?
Tyler's a sidearmer.
Taylor's the lefty.
Yeah.
He's the one on
Right.
waivers. Tyler's the sidearm guy. He's the one that hit the guy in the face.
Oh,
Right?
I thought the lefty
Yes, that's
hit him
right.
in the face.
No, it was a righty. He threw the up shooter, and the guy for I think it was the Padres swung baseball. You're out, by the way, too,
Mhm.
and embarrassed
And you know what, Kratz? It's okay. You're not the first person
to get them confused.
to confuse Taylor and Tyler Rogers, who are twins that happen to play Major League Baseball and are both in the same bullpen with the Giants.
I thought it was I thought it was a right-handed hitter it was a left-handed hitter that got.
Yes, it was a
Clumped in the
left-handed hitter.
face?
Yes, it was it was an upshoot slider
Okay.
that he throws.
You guys
But-
are great, but yeah, let's.
By the
not
way,
spend
let me
time
just
on it.
say this. You're talking about dump deadline. We're going to get into it now, but like the Twins dumped Trevor Richards, right? Who
Let's
they
do this
traded
right
for.
now.
Okay,
Yeah.
and then the Cardinals did it. Why is this? They just traded for these guys and they're getting rid of them.
Well, it
don't
didn't
get it.
work. Okay, so let's start with the Twins. Trevor Rogers was the only trade made by the Twins. He was designated for assignment about a day ago. He posted a 4.15 with Minnesota in 13 innings, and he couldn't locate his changeup. And that's
7 wild pitches,
pitch.
by the way.
yeah.
Trevor Richards.
7 wild pitches.
What did I say?
Trevor
Rogers?
Rogers.
Trevor Richards.
Richards. Jeez, there's a lot of Rogers
There's a
and
lot
Richards.
going on today, okay? But Trevor Richards, in my mind, and this is nothing against him, was a move made by Minnesota so that you couldn't write the article saying they did nothing. It was just,
He
hey,
wasn't having a
I
great
did
year.
one thing. But no, he wasn't having a great year. It was some bullpen depth, see what happens. Didn't work out. But it does play to the fact that they completely botched this past year, right? They did nothing just about in the offseason and then nothing here at the trade deadline. And they've said we can't really do much. That's a tough spot because they built a team that can win a World Series if they were able to supplement it. We seem to have this like disgusting disease in our league where there are certain teams that don't care that much about putting that next little piece on top of a contender.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know about that. I just think they're, the owners, certain owners, and I, don't like to stereotype, but it's owners
Daddy money boys.
It's sons of owners that were there before.
Correct.
Right. Look at Detroit with the Illiches, right? You look at the Fisher, you look at Pohlad family. Yep. It's like they won't, oh no, I got to hoard all my money.
Mm-hmm. It's different.
Which is fine. I get it. It's your
they
money.
Didn't buy the team either, most of these guys.
No, that's what
Fisher
I'm saying.
did, but like they might not even like or know baseball that much.
Yeah. So I hate it because I want players to get paid and I want teams to try to win.
Yeah.
But it's their money. They can do whatever they want with it.
I know, but Minnesota's
clamoring for anything in that town. They freaking love the Twins. And that ballpark is awesome.
It is. It's a great setup there, and they deserved better. Kratz, you good? You want me to move to
No. Can they do whatever they want? Because isn't that part of the whole, like, the competitive balance, the, like, all those negotiated things as a monopolistic organization that Major League Baseball is? Can they do whatever they want with their money?
Yes.
Because it's not.
Bob Nutting didn't spend. The Marlins don't spend any money. The owners make the decision of whatever their budgetary restrictions are going to be for the year. So I think, they can pretty much do whatever they want as far as payroll. There's no minimum.
Yeah, I'm
right.
That's it.
Okay, then
there's no minimum, right? There's no maximum.
No, there's no rules.
So you have Steve Cohen that'll spend until he doesn't have any money.
Yep.
And then you have the Marlins. What was their payroll at one point? It was like $15 million active.
Their current active payroll.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was bad. Yeah, it's an epidemic. We'll talk about it all off season too. I mean, half the teams care, half the teams don't. And that doesn't mean you can't be successful and win, but it just doesn't put yourself in the best position to succeed. I thought the Cardinals had a really nice trade deadline. They're just not a good enough team to be a postseason ball club this year.
They're not athletic.
No.
I mean, I know they have Mason Wynn and the center fielder's name I just blanked on. Victor Scott.
Oh yeah.
Who's faster than whatever.
Yep.
But he can fly. But the rest of the team is just not athletic anymore. Like you look at them, even the Padres. Right? And what's funny is I think the Cardinals have a higher payroll than the Padres.
Really?
I think so. You can fact check me on that, but I think I'm pretty accurate on this one. It's just different, though. Goldschmidt's gotten old quickly. Arenado's gotten old, seems like, quickly. Contreras has been hurt all year. They're huge signing a couple years ago after Yachty went down. Their pitching hasn't been what they thought it would be. All the outfielders, they traded Carlson, who's now raking with Tampa.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They've moved Edmonds now back playing for LA, doing great. So it's like, all right, where are we stuck at here? Mason Wynn's had a nice year as a shortstop. But you just look at them and you're like, all right, where's the athleticism? Where's the new age things? And I don't know how the Cardinals get out of it. I love that organization. I love Mozeliak. And I want them to do well because they were great to me. But I just don't know how they get out of it unless they go out and buy some players.
Yeah. You're right, though. They do have a higher payroll than the Padres by a little bit this year. So
you talk about the Padres, compare the Padres. They have all shortstops playing everywhere. You talk about athleticism, they're all shortstops. Mm-hmm. The Cardinals have all utility guys, minus Arenado and Goldschmidt. In their time, they were Gold Glove at their position. But it's a great example. I think their pitching has done what they thought their pitching was going to do. They just haven't scored runs.
They had a nice one last night, though. Arenado had a nice one.
Yeah, it's too little, too late. And like you mentioned, the Cardinals traded 3 remaining years of Dylan Carlson for roughly 3.5 weeks of Sean Armstrong. That tweet from Katie Wu. She said it was necessary to trade him, but it is not a great look. And then Derek Gould said by DFAing Armstrong just a week after demoting Jordan Walker and Nolan Gorman, the Cardinals have a reality that should alarm them. There isn't a first-round pick and only one player acquired in exchange for a first-round pick on their 26-player roster. And he said, Goldschmidt and Lynn are on the IL. But still, to just sum up what's going on there, it's been a tough build.
It's going to be, and the interesting part, Krause, is that the people aren't coming out. The people aren't showing up. Right? They're not showing up to Busch Stadium, which was never a thing.
Yeah.
What was it, 13,000 actual in attendance? That's got to be by far the lowest number of all time, right, for their new ballpark?
Fans are protesting.
Yeah. What are they protesting?
About it. They think they are not doing enough. They're super cheap. They should be acting like a bigger operation. I actually see both sides on this one. I think they should do more. But also, they've had a ton of success. They've won World Series for you this century.
It's been a while, though. 2011.
Yeah. Since they won?
Yeah.
Right. Since they won a World Series. But they're a playoff team.
Yeah.
Almost every year.
But
it's just the last 2 years now have been bad, and they're not used to that. So,
and they're kind of like the Yankees, though. It's World Series or bust for the Cardinals.
Yes.
Yep.
I'm sorry.
They've set a high precedent, though. You're saying that with a team that operates with half the resources of the Yankees on a yearly basis. The Yankees are averaging, $300+ million as a payroll, and the Cardinals are averaging about half that. That to me means, damn, they've done a pretty nice job. I know it's a different division and all that, but I'm saying over a body of work, they've done a nice job. I think we got to be fair when a team has success. They're a playoff contender almost every year. There's some teams that just can't put that.
For years they just went to the playoffs and they would lose. They went. They would lose. They lose. They went. But the thing is, it's been like, when was the last time the Cardinals went to the World Series? 2013, right?
Yeah.
And so 2013 they lost to the Red Sox. 2014 we lost to the Giants in the LCS. And then after that, it was like Cubs won. So people are like, oh, man. And then the Cardinals fans look and say the Brewers are good. All of a sudden, the Pirates are ascending, they think. The Cubs are supposed to be there. So I think it's more of just we're supposed to be the big, bad, mighty Cardinals, win the division every year, and we haven't. And I think that's why the fans are getting frustrated, because they are just like, why are we not at least competing for World Series anymore?
Sure. I just think it's been a short period of time, Last year they were bad. This year is not great. Like 2022, they're in the wild card. 2021 wild card. I get it. It's been. But
Cardinals fans are spoiled, and it's good to be like this. They're spoiled.
Yeah.
They expect they don't go through these lulls. Like their lulls are like, oh, we finished 500. Next year we're going to win 100 games because we're going to go out and make the right moves. So Cardinal fans are spoiled, which is fine. It's good because that means your team has tried to win for a long time.
Yep.
The Cardinals have never been a team that said, we're going to just trash it and rebuild. We're going to try to win. And that's when they went out and traded for Goldie. They went out and traded for Arenado, right? But now they're kind of in that middle ground where it's, how do we get back to being here when we're just kind of here?
They're also about to go through a bunch of changes, just to cap this off. So, I mean, John Mozeliak, I think, is done by the end
Yeah,
of
one
next
more
year
year,
at the
doesn't he?
latest. So things are going to change. I mean, they had a model, the Cardinal way, that worked for a long period of time, and the game has changed. And so they're trying to update with the times. It hasn't quite worked out. So I don't know. I see both sides. Like, yes, I would expect better, but I didn't expect the team to be that good this year. Some of the win projections were ridiculous for them. You got it. Last word.
The only thing I have to say, they are way behind on the analytics side. For a team that has a Cardinal way, and knowing what I know from that department, they're way behind. They're stuck in their evaluation of analytics and how they read it. So we'll see if they make that adjustment under new leadership.
Chaim Bloom's there. Maybe he takes over. So we'll see. We got a lot of offseason to talk about the Cardinals. But anyway, happy dump deadline day. I feel like it's official now where things are getting going. We'll swing back and we'll get our first guest of the day rolling. We haven't talked to Chicken Strip in a minute. It's an easy one. We're busy. We work hard every day. And sometimes you want to just be able to hit the fridge, get a little filet mignon, a little salmon, whatever you're going for, nice hearty meal, pop it in the microwave, and be good to go in, 2 minutes time?
2 minutes.
2 minutes.
2
baby.
minutes.
It's called Factor, and you can see 50% off your first box when you use that code FOUL50. But this is real. We have a text group. We're actually real friends, I think. And AJ was texting us last night the meals that he was putting together from Factor. He picked them out online, right? You choose from 35 different meals and more than 60 add-ons. And then what happened? He came to your door.
Showed up at my door.
Yep.
And I actually had 2 of them last night. Fatty, sorry. I had 2 of them last night, and I sent you guys. I had 2.
You did.
2 for
Those
the
are
price
both
of-
I thought
yours?
that was one for you and one for
Nope.
family member,
Nope.
wife, whatever.
Those were both me. I was hungry. So I had 2. Yep. And then guess what I had for lunch today? Another one.
Factor. Yeah.
It was delicious, too. It was a herb chicken with cauliflower grits, which I don't know how you make cauliflower into grits because grits are corn and a southern thing, but it was really good.
They did it.
Yeah.
They pulled it off.
Yeah.
Krat, you always talk about sponsors. You don't get to talk this time. AJ dominated. There you go. So,
But listen, when you eat 2 meals for 1 meal,
yeah,
you kind of dominated.
Yeah, you're living good.
AJ's
You're
a
living good.
spokesperson.
Factormeals.com/FOUL50. Use code FOUL50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month. There it is. FOUL50 at factormeals.com/FOUL50 for 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month while your subscription is active. We're going to swing back with Ross Stripling of the Oakland A's joining us. If you have questions for Strip, who is one of the best interviews in baseball, then let us know and we'll ask him. Hey, look who it is. Our friend Ross Stripling joining us right now.
Wait, where is
FT.
he in the bowels of Oakland Coliseum right now? No.
Cincinnati.
No, you're on the road. That's right, Cincinnati. Get it warm for me because I'll be there tomorrow. So warm it up for me,
Dude,
Strip.
It is warm enough. My God, this is one of the hottest series I've played in a long time. That's like historically hot here in Cincinnati.
Get some Skyline chili and warm that place up for me, all right?
Oh, that'll do something
man.
else.
That's what I meant.
Ross, is that down the tunnel as you go to the dugout, but then you turn left before you get to the dugout? That's
exactly where I am, man.
That's where Jeff Samardzija used to smoke his stogies and cigarettes. I remember
I walked around for 5 minutes. I walked around for 5 minutes looking for a place to do an interview here, and this is the best place I could come up with. Everything's like wide open, so I was either gonna, either on the field where it's 112 degrees or kind of sitting right here where it's a little bit cool. So this is where I landed.
Hey, we don't need you Texas guys melting in the heat, Just don't want you guys to melt.
I've been West Coast too long, man. I'm spoiled. I'm not used to the humidity anymore. It's I've lost it. I had it for a long time growing up in Texas, and I've lost it.
10-ply.
What'd you say?
10-ply. Like 10-ply toilet paper, super soft.
Oh. I don't know that toilet paper.
Yeah, I don't either. I'm lucky if I have a ply. But then again, I have a Japanese toilet, so I don't really need toilet paper.
Fancy. All right, let's get into it. So the first thing I actually wanted to ask you about was a conversation we were just having. Analytics in the game. Where I want to go with this is how much of a difference do you observe on a team-by-team basis? Now you've played for several teams in the league. What do you see? What's the communication process like? Do you feel like certain teams are way ahead of others, or is everyone in the same ballpark now?
No, I definitely think there's teams that are significantly ahead of others. I was raised in the Dodgers organization where I would say they could be on a pedestal all by themselves. I would imagine there's a couple teams up there with them. But, really it comes down to an investment in like human capital, right? Like the early teams, the Dodger teams that I was a part of, Farhan Zaidi was an assistant GM. Anthopoulos was an assistant GM, and obviously then you had Friedman and his guys as well. So like they were investing in elite human talent and capital just for their information, right? And what they can bring to the table and an edge that you can get there. So that's a expense that a lot of teams don't have, right? That the Dodgers do. And then you move on to the Blue Jays, Giants, and A's for me. And I would say, yeah, I've seen a big difference as far as just an investment in analytics and how they use it and how they're able to relay it down from the front office through the assistants, through the coaching staff, down to the players. And, the Dodgers were elite at that. And I would say I have not been on another team that is as good as they are at that. And, Oakland here, we get great opportunities because a lot of kids, it's very much like, here's 9 innings, buddy, go play baseball like it's been played for 100 years. We're not super analytical over here, even though, we get the money ball type stuff. But I would say we kind of stopped around then. And, a lot of teams, I think, have continued to invest in analytics at a high level. And we're, probably somewhere in the middle. I heard you guys talking about the Cardinals. I would guess from Michael Wacha, who I know played over there for a long time, and how he would talk about it was Yachty. Yachty called the game. Yachty called the pitches. He put his fingers down, and that's our analytics. I would say I would agree with Kratzy when he said they're probably a little bit behind because when you have a catcher that's elite like that for that long, you kind of the game changed in the amount of time that Yachty was in the big leagues. So I would imagine they are a little bit behind.
Is the information there for you? Like right where you're at in Oakland, is the information there? It's just I think they have like 7 or 8 people in their analytical department, and I think the Dodgers are like up at like the 79, Yankees are up at like 78, something like that. But is there just not enough people to give you the information, or is it like a lack of being able to get that information?
No, the information is there. We have our own version of True Media, which is a platform called Oasis, where I can go and I can get everything that I'm looking for, right? But it's more on me than it's been in a long time. I used to probably have a group of guys that could come to me with their information, right? With whatever they specialize in. And now it's very much me finding a group of information, getting together with my catcher and my pitching coach, and we kind of group our information together. I realize this probably doesn't make a ton of sense versus, other organizations. I would feel like there'd be like a kid from MIT in the room with me, or a guy from Driveline, or whatever. It's just like maybe there's more human beings giving their input in the past than maybe I have here. And I'm not here to say which is better or worse. Honestly, I've been in the league now for 9 years. I know exactly what I'm looking for, so I don't need a ton of help. But some of these guys that, maybe could have gotten an edge from another human being, another group of information that they're not getting, maybe that can help them get their career off the ground a little bit. But I mean, as you're seeing, I'm sure we're going to talk about, like, we've been one of the best teams since July, since the All-Star break. So, we're doing just fine over here. We got guys that are getting off to great starts in their careers. So it's, I'm certainly not here to talk smack about the Oakland analytics department.
Does it make you feel the way, because I was at organizations that didn't have it, and organizations that did, like you're talking about, does it make you feel like if a game scouting report is a mile race, does it feel like when you have other people helping you, you're starting at like the half-mile mark, and when it's all you're gathering your own information, you're starting at 0?
Yeah, 100%. It is twice the workload that I'm used to, but I'm still going into my starts or my appearances as prepared as I've ever been. But yeah, like I said, it's just more on me. So yeah, I'm starting from a lower level of information than I'm used to, which honestly sometimes gives you some peace of mind when you're out there. The same way as like if you studied really hard for a test and you go into a test like really prepared for it because you did all the work. I know exactly what I'm doing to each one of these guys 1 through 9. So there's some pros or cons to that for sure. But yeah, it's definitely taken more between outings to get ready for the next outing than I've done in the really throughout my whole career.
All right, a couple of things I got to comment on here before we get into how good y'all are playing right now. One, I'm disappointed Michael Wacha didn't mention me and how many games I called for him in that 2014 season. So very disappointed. I'm going to have to reach out to Wacha and tell him that he's wrong. Two, yes, thank you for agreeing and saying Moneyball was the worst movie of all time, and they should have ended analytics at that exact point. So thank you for that, Strip. And then 3, when is Lawrence Butler going to credit us with this? He came on with us a week ago and he's hit 3 homers, 7 RBIs, a couple stolen bases. So in his next post-game interview, like today, if he hits a couple homers, I'm going to need him to say, listen, foul territory got me hot. So when you're done with this interview, you can just go into Lawrence and say, hey, I got something for you. Thanks, Strip.
I'll let him know because I've played with a lot of really exciting guys, and he's been on a few stretches this season that are up there with some of the most exciting I've seen. Talking like Seager and Bellinger Rookie of the Year type stuff. Law has put a couple streaks together that look pretty similar to those. So yeah, I'll go in there. I'll be like, Law, dude, the foul territory guys are saying they got you hot. He usually comes back with something pretty funny, so I'll report back what he says.
Yeah, can you give me more on his personality? He was great. We didn't know him well. We brought him on the show for the first time. Not only was he great and had fun answers, but then we also went over like his top 5 drip in the sport, and he's just like rattling off, names of players from other teams and how they dress. So is he that guy in the clubhouse for you guys too?
100%. He is one of many young guys that we have that are just full of energy, and he's the same guy every day. I loved him because you couldn't tell some of these streaks I'm talking about where he hit like 400 for a couple of weeks. You can't tell that from the streak where he hit 100 for a couple of weeks. He is literally the same guy every day he walks into the clubhouse, which is a big deal for some of these young guys. It's easy to ride the wave. And he's definitely like let's see, he's from Atlanta. He's like big in the music scene. I think he writes and does some of his own music. He performs some music of his own music on the bus for us. He went to a studio in Atlanta, recorded a song, sent it to us in the group chat. So we all, he's got a lot of passions away from baseball, all the while still being very, very good Oakland A's baseball player. So he's just kind of a jack of all trades, a guy we love having around.
I like that. All right, so now let's go over the rest of the team. So, the second half has been much better for Oakland. What are you seeing? Can you take us beyond, hey, it's a young team, they're getting better as the season progresses? Like, what else? Are there certain individuals that stand out? What are you noticing?
Well, it's awesome having someone like Brent Rooker right in the middle of the lineup all year doing damage, right? He floated us in times where we weren't maybe doing a whole lot offensively. He won us games maybe where we didn't pitch well. So he's been like our mainstay. And, we were very adamant about him being an all-star snub. He's right up there with like Jordan as far as should win Silver Slugger for DH in the AL. And then we've just had guys get hot. We were streaky early, like Langoliers would get hot, and then maybe Butler would get hot, and then Geloff would get hot. And then I think we came out of the break, or really went into the break, with a couple guys swinging the bat really well, and they've just kept it going, right? So we're not winning games 3-2 anymore. Like last night, we gave up a 6 spot in the 6th inning, I think. All of a sudden, we're losing 6-5, and then we come and hit a 3-run homer, and we're winning 9-6 by the end of that inning. So we're just we're coming into our own as far as like we're not the team that if you get us down, we're not going to bow out, right? Some of these teams that have struggled, if you want to look like the White Sox or the Marlins or whatever, if you get them down maybe 3-4-0 early, they probably just kind of bow down. We've proven that we're not going to be that team. So I think we have good leadership, great coaching. Kotze is the man for the job. He's been one of my favorite managers I've ever played for. And then we got you asked about young guys, but we got like young starters that are pitching the ball really well. Like how many people have heard of Beto? How many people have heard of JP Sears and Mitch Spence, a Rule 5 guy? Like we're rolling out these guys every 5th day, and they're consistently getting us 15, 18 outs. And then we're rolling out a bullpen that has Mason Miller at the end of it, who's slamming the door shut of every lead that we have. So we have a lot of really good pieces and kids that are coming to their own. And you're really literally watching development happen at the big league level and having success. And it's been incredibly fun to be a part of.
Hey, you got me thinking about a story we just heard the other day. So we had Jonathan Papelbon on the show the other day, and is he friendly with Kotze? You guys remember how he brought him up for the Rosarena thing we were talking about?
Yeah.
So, Strip, I don't know if you saw this, but Randy Rosarena, who we all love as a player, brings a ton to the game, the fan interaction, the whole deal. When he was facing the Rays in the last series, he went into their clubhouse before the game. We had Pap on, and somehow Kotze's name came up because he's like, yeah, you can't go into the opposing clubhouse.
Because Kotze went from winning the World Series with the Red Sox, I think he might have came to the White Sox the next year.
Okay.
And he was just saying, like, Kotze would never do that. and I said I would never do that. And I said if I was in the clubhouse, we probably would have been like, get out of here. But
So here's a current guy.
So here's Strip. I mean, would you? Let's say I don't know. Let's say you guys played the Royals, and Urseg came, and he just came and plopped himself down in the clubhouse and was like, "What's up, guys?" It would be a little bit strange, and I don't mean that in a weird way. It's just the clubhouse is not for in the tunnel, on the field. Have a great time. Go to dinner. Take them wherever you want to go. Have a great time. But just that room is special and it's unique and it's just for you guys.
Yeah, agreed. I actually just had a similar experience. I went back to Toronto where I played, 20, 21, and 22. And I, was very adamant about trying to catch up with staff and players when I was over there. But I definitely avoided the locker room. I went into the training room, which is now Toronto's been redone. It's like 100 yards from the locker room. That place is gigantic. It's like a 4-season spa in there now. But, I made sure to stay out of the locker room. That's their space. That's players trying to get ready. Even being in the training room felt a little funny. But, I don't know if I've actually ever seen an ex-player come into a locker room. I think that would be a little strange.
Agreed. Especially while they're still playing. When they're retired, like I go in, listen, I still feel awkward walking in there. And I've been out for a long time. I walk in and I'm like,
yeah.
I don't want to step on, I don't want to sit down. It's just still awkward because I know I don't belong in there all the time.
Yeah, I agree. Ross, one more and then we'll let you jump. So you mentioned Toronto. Obviously, it's been a disappointing season for them. Do you think that Vladdy or Bo Bichette ends up there long term? I mean, I know obviously you can't take us inside their head, but you wonder when guys get that close to free agency and that they're that good. I'm like, how come they couldn't figure something out earlier? I mean, we've all known they're really good for a long time.
Yeah, sure. I would like to think one, if not both of them, could be there long term. I know they're both beloved by the fan base, raised within that organization. Obviously, with their dads being very good big leaguers as well, they've been talked about, written about for years and years, and then obviously have had some really good success in Toronto as Major League Baseball players. If I were to pick one, I would probably put my money that Vladdy would be the one that they would choose to be long term. As far as what's being offered and behind the scenes, I have no idea, but he just feels like a perfect fit for them. And, he's back to being Vladdy and hitting homers and slugging and really their biggest offensive threat all season. So, if I were to be a betting man, I think I would say put my chips on Vladdy to be there long term.
Okay, Strip, before I let you go, since it's we're almost into September now, I've never asked you this, I don't think, on the show. We need one quick stock tip.
Not allowed.
I was looking forward to Frazier being on. Yeah, this is a Frazier thing. I was looking forward to because NVIDIA had earnings after the bell yesterday, and they're down, yet the market's flying today on some good GDP news. So we'll take that. The thing is, I went on Fox Business years and years ago, and I actually set a stock that I'm buying and a stock that I recommend. And because I'm actually licensed and manage some accounts, I got all these emails from compliance saying you can't do that because if Joe Blow goes and buys the stock that I recommend and it goes to zero, I can actually be held liable for the advice that I gave. So you gotta hit me up off air and I can spit you all the growth names we're looking at.
I wasn't on that day, so I didn't know that story.
It's like feed pics on social. They're saying free.
Yeah.
I needed to apologize because last time I was on, I told giving up a triple to Frazier's like giving up a triple to Vogelbach, and I've felt horrible about it ever since. So
we'll take it back. Apologize for that. Nope. You can apologize for the stock tip. Don't apologize for that.
That's good. I love that. Well, we got Todd Father back tomorrow. We'll make sure he sees the apology. But Strip, thanks for hustling to a good spot, and I'm glad you stayed out of the heat for a little bit. But keep doing your thing, dude. Great to have you on.
All right, y'all too, man. Keep up the good work. See you next time.
Thank you. See you next time. Ross Stripling. Are you bummed? Did you want a stock tip?
Yeah, I wanted something. But listen, that was actually a better answer.
Good answer.
It actually was a great answer. He's like, I was on Fox Business, and they asked me a question, and I told him, and then
that's good.
He actually learned something. I learned something in that 30 seconds. I'm glad I got to ask him that.
Exactly. You get that here, nowhere else. He still did mix in, that he knows what he's talking about. He just casually mixed in NVIDIA's earnings were down, and
I did see that at the gym this morning, though. I did see that.
The earnings down.
Well, there's certain TVs. One's on certain channel. They're all on certain. One of them is always on the financial channel.
Yep.
And they were all talking about that, how no one can figure out how their earnings after hours changed, and so it was a whole big deal. But
we'll get Ross on at some point. Sometime
no, we can't have him on air. We got to have him off air.
Right. We can ask him. We can text him and all that. But that was good. By the way, the analytics conversation to me was fascinating. And I thought that his answer, it was like, probably about a minute answer, just summed up so many things. Okay. Dodgers on another planet. Cardinals were even more Yachty dependent than you think. A's have done nothing differently since Moneyball. Like it was fascinating. That explains what's going on. And actually for me, Kratz, it puts me in place a little because sometimes I'm like, a lot of teams have the same info nowadays. And then you look up and you're like, whoa, there's still a drastic difference between what's going on in the game. And that's one of the cheaper components. Like that is where the Rays get their advantage sometimes is they're not going to spend on players, but they're going to make sure they're up to speed or get as close to being Dodger-like as possible because that's the part of investment that doesn't cost much. Spending a few $1,000,000 extra behind the scenes can make all the difference in the world for how your team is set up. And the Rays are like, that's one, mid-tier player on free agency for a 1-year deal,
Less. It's less than that. Like the stuff that it takes, the instruments that it takes to just get this information and have the information correct and up to date will cost you less than $500,000. And then you're talking about people to implement this, like Ross was talking about, and guys that will, and girls that will deliver this information correctly to the right people. You're talking under $1 million. If you spend $1 million, you are doing it big. I know other teams are spending way more on their entire department, but I'm talking about the teams that are at the bottom, and he mentioned them. And it's so good to hear it from an active player who's been there and not just me who knew the places he was talking about, but he's active and he's seeing it daily.
Exactly. All right, we're coming back with Jason La Canfora to talk about the Baltimore Orioles and where they're at.
Or LA.
Here we go. Jason La Canfora joining us right now, who is a host on The Fan in Baltimore. I go on his show quite a bit over the years. It's much more fun to go on their show nowadays since the O's are good. He's got his show at 2 o'clock Eastern. So if you're in the area, make sure you tune in if you're in the car, and we'll keep it snappy and get right to biz. So Jason, great to have you on. Thank you for the time. And let's get your thoughts on where the team is at right now. And obviously you can mix in how they did at the deadline because you've been very outspoken.
Yeah, I mean, look, Mike Elias has done a tremendous job building that talent pipeline that he came in and vowed to do. And they've made tremendous strides in infrastructure, right? IT, research development, building up analytics staff, getting the best data collection, TrackMan, all that stuff, right? Hawkeye, like we've got a Dominican Academy now. We actually play in the international markets, and the first fruits of those labors should be here maybe by this time next year, maybe a little sooner with Samuel Basayo. So he's checked a lot of boxes, but they've also maybe reached a high water level doing it the way they've done it to this point, which has been tremendously risk averse, which has been eyes always on the prize somewhere down there. Is it 2027? Is it 2028? I don't know. It's not the present. It's not all in to try to win right now in a city that hasn't had a parade since 1983. It's still kind of maybe a little too focused on MLB pipeline and Baseball America, top 5 organizational list for me. I don't think it's really go time there. And where are the Orioles? They're like most teams, right? They're good, not great. They're scuffling. They have warts. They can't put a meaningful winning streak together. But they started off so hot, like the Yankees and some of these other teams, that they've built up enough of sort of a cachet. They've got enough wins in their back pocket that they're going to the playoffs. Are the Red Sox going to rise from the dead, or the Rays or somebody? Who else is getting in this mix? So we'll know a whole lot more in October. But I have reservations about this front office truly meeting the moment and beating other general managers at critical instances, winter meetings, trade deadline, for the best players available to put their team over the top right bleeping now. Not so much worried about 2027, 2028, and it's just up to the baseball gods. Maybe we'll win in October. Maybe we won't. It's all random anyway.
So, Jason, that's all I'm going to say about this is they're just hoarding prospects and they won't spend money. Basically is what you're saying.
Yeah.
And you went way deeper into it, which I love. But basically, you're saying the Orioles won't spend the money they need to spend in the right way to win the World Series, and they're holding on to their prospects for not getting the right people, because they could have went out and gotten a lot of the guys at the trade deadline that were traded, or even, yes, they went out and got Corbin Burns, but they could have gone out and made other trades, whether it was Dylan Cease, whether whoever it was. And you're saying, no, Mike Elias is risk averse, and he's like, I can hold on to my top 50 prospects and maybe trade one, and we'll get to the postseason and Baltimore fans will be happy, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not even sure Mike Elias, under new ownership with a new billionaire here, I'm not sure he wants to win money, like spend money. Like, I think he'd rather position this team as the little engine that could. And, boy, we're there with Tampa and, Milwaukee. And, like, maybe we'll do a little something sometimes. But don't you dare compare us to the Yankees or the Dodgers, because, if I spend that way and it doesn't work, then I've got to wear it. Then I've got to own it. Then it's going to cut down on my ability to do some other things because, yeah, they won't be able to eat a terrible contract the way some other teams would. Like, this Anthony Santander thing is going to be very, very interesting. Like, if they let him walk and they try to sell me on Heston Kjerstad and Kobe Mayo and a whole bunch of other 22 to 25-year-olds picking up the slack, then I think it's going to, for those who aren't in my camp, it's going to tell you all you really need to know about how they're going to operate. And I think they built a very uber young and uber naive baseball team this year that was built for about 80 to 90 games. And as the sample size expanded, and the only meaningful bat they've added to this team in 2 years was Aaron Hicks. And that was just picking him up for $1 million, minimum salary after he cleared waivers a year ago. Like, it should have been go time last offseason. How do you get Corbin Burns and do nothing else? Like, their bullpen moves were Craig Kimbrell and Dylan Tate. They just DFA'd Dylan Tate. He barely pitched in the major leagues. Kimbrell pitches in mop-up situations. Like, the GM needs to step up his game big time.
Are Orioles fans embarrassed that they're the best team that losing can buy and the Dodgers are the best team that money can buy?
I don't know if people are looking at it that way. I just think it's more like, when will there be a sense of urgency in this front office? Not in the yapping that they do, but in their moves that indicate that they want to win as badly as the Dodgers right now, or whomever, like Dombrowski. You know what I mean? Like, when are they going to have sort of the deeds and the words match up, and they make the kind of penthouse moves that even if they don't work, you say, hey, at least they went for it. Like you guys said, prospect hoarding. Like, that 2019 draft looks generational. Like, that was an amazing draft. But let's be real. Right now, anybody with a brain would take Witt over Adley Rutschman. Like, they've already traded Ortiz. He's gone, so they got nothing from him. Like, they traded Hernandez for Cole Irvin, who is only in the rotation because Trevor Rogers stinks. Like, Kyle Stowers was in that draft. Kyle Stowers is gone. You use Stowers and Norby to get Trevor Rogers, who just gave up 10 earned runs in 4 2/3 and triple effing A. Like, I mean, am I the crazy one here? Or like, why did they get the Marlins' sixth best left-handed arm? Like, to me, if everybody's healthy, that's the sixth most interesting left-handed arm on the Miami Marlins. And that's the guy they got. Like, make it make sense. So I think it's not even so much about the Dodgers. It's just about, like, for those who are really watching closely, like, if you think your organization is so good that all the answers you'll ever need are within it, except for the occasional rental pitcher, then you've got a really inflated sense of self. And I think the GM in that instance would be incredibly naive about what it's going to take to actually win a World Series, what that roster is going to look like to beat the Dodgers or the Yankees or the Astros in October.
Okay, Jason, let me ask you this. Corbin Burns a free agent at the end of the year, right? Santander. Kimbrell's obviously not coming back. The rest of their team is, Bradish. These guys are all coming off Tommy John and elbow surgeries, Bautista, these guys. What's the move you'd like to see him make? Because there's a big free agent class this year. What's the move? Re-sign Corbin Burns? Re-sign Santander? Go out and get somebody else? Go get a Max Fried or someone like that? What are the moves you want to see? Because, yeah, I understand what you're saying, but in order to do that, the owner has to give the okay to spend, and they have to match up with a player. So who's a player or two you'd like to see him go get this offseason? Because there are some big names out there.
Re-signing Santander would be imperative. I mean, this lineup's Fugazi now with him, and he's one of the elite power rating switch hitters in baseball. You let him walk, and again, you think Heston Kjerstad's going to hit 30 home runs next year or whatever, but like you want to sell yourself. They're platooning in 6 different spots, so that needs to end. They need an everyday right-handed hitting outfield bat. They're going to need multiple starting pitchers. Batista's coming back, but they're still going to need at least one more high leverage arm from outside the organization. And look, what would I do? I'm going back to the Detroit Tigers right after my season ends, and I'm trying to lay the groundwork for a Skubal trade. And me personally, I'd be willing to trade Jackson Holliday as part of a package for even 2 years of Skubal. Now, I might want something else from their farm system too. It might be a 3-team trade, but Westberg's coming back. Westberg's a proven run producer. Gunnar Henderson's struggling at short, but he's their shortstop. Jackson Holliday doesn't have the arm to play shortstop. I've seen a lot of Jackson Holliday. I like Jackson Holliday. I don't think he's a sure thing. They need if they got a top of the line left-handed starter who they have for 2 postseason runs, somebody like a Skubal, I think that would change everything. They changed their ballpark to benefit left-handed pitching, and opposing teams have a 2-to-1 ratio in their starters pitching, left-handed starters pitching at Camden Yards to Orioles starters. And the only Orioles starters who've done it are Cole Irvin and Trevor Rogers and the occasional John Means start before his arm blew up again.
Does Skubal help win them the World Series? You talked about World Series. Does Skubal help this team win the World Series without other moves like Santander, who's already on this team?
You've got Skubal cheap. I'm not giving Skubal an extension. You know what I mean? I'm buying the last 2 years of Skubal. I'm paying Santander. I mean, they've got Eflin next year for $18 million. Grayson, Knockwood is fine. They're not going to have Bradish, but Povich might be okay. Dean Kramer's fine at the bottom. One high leverage bullpen arm wouldn't kill them. I mean, they're not paying anybody now. Some guys will start. Adley's arbitration eligible, but let's be real. They've got 3 more years of Adley Rutschman. Unless they do an extension, Gunnar Henderson. There's not going to be a Gunnar Henderson extension. People are fooling themselves. They've got a 4 or 5 year window here. And I got news for you. Boris is going to want Henderson out of here because he's going to want Jackson Holliday, if he's still here, to start playing shortstop, because he's going to want Jackson Holliday to be paid as a shortstop, not an average second baseman. Right now, he's a fringy second baseman. So, I mean, I'm just looking into the crystal ball. And again, nothing matters to them because it's always on until next year. And, we've got all these prospects. Don't worry about now. Well, Tarek Skubal to me would absolutely put them over the top.
Oh, hell yeah. That would have been a huge pickup for them. Windows are never open as long as teams think they are. I guess maybe the Astros, you can make that case, but otherwise, no. And Jason, I know you got your show coming up. This was great. The exact fire that I think our guys needed to hear. And awesome to have you on here for the first time. Everyone go give Jason a follow. Go check out his shows if you're in the Baltimore area on The Fan. He's at Jason Canfora on Twitter. Thank you, Jason. Great to have you on my side.
Thank you, guys. Give my love to Kenny Rosenthal, even though he disavows me. He's my mentor, but he wouldn't want you to know.
Oh, do not admit that. Never admit that on this show, please.
Yeah, that's my guy.
See you guys. We will. Thank you. See you, Jason. Appreciate you. Coming right back on FT. Good heat there. I mean, if you hear a rant like that, what is the next thing that you want to do if you're not on the show?
I got to get some energy out.
Yeah,
somewhere.
exactly.
Ooh, he was on fire, though. He had some good takes, though.
He did have some really good takes. We're going to talk about them in 1 minute. So first, let's give a shout out to Anytime Fitness, one of our latest sponsors. It's giving you access to 5,000 plus well-equipped gyms open 24/7. And also, where else are you getting personalized coaching support, not only at the gym, but you can bring it home with you with their world best app. Best training, nutrition, recovery guidance. It's all there for you. That app is free too if you want to check that out first and then go look into where there is a gym nearby. But Kratz, are you fired up?
I'm ready to go. He pumped me up. I can't go anywhere. I'm glued to the seat though, so I'll just have to
for an hour.
Hang out.
Yeah, just for an hour and then you're good to go. So also, it comes at a convenience, though. That's the important part here with Anytime Fitness. 24/7, you can get what you need to get done at home, on the app, online, at any location worldwide. And it is also holistic fitness that doesn't just end with the training. They focus on body intelligence, like sleep data, health metrics, nutrition, and recovery. So go smash that link in the description. I will put it in the YouTube chat right now as well. That is at anytimefitness.com to claim your free trial pass. There it is. Yes, anytimefitness.com. Okay, let's stay here actually all right, I guess we'll come back. Let's hit better than box scores. So Shohei Ohtani had a night, didn't he? I mean, was that perfection or what? I mean, come on. Is that not what you dream about if you're a Dodgers fan for the last several years, or if you're in the Dodgers organization? Go ahead, Kratz. I know you're excited about this one. From the decoy giveaway night, which is his pup, to the first pitch, training him that way, to the huge game for Ohtani. I mean, come on. What else do you want against an Orioles team that we just talked about? But they are a good team. They're a playoff team. Like, is that not the perfect evening in LA? Sold out crowd, people waiting since 9 a.m. to go get a piece of hardware.
It's a gladiator moment where he's like, "Are you not entertained? Are you not like? What else could he do?" And I know nobody else is Shohei Ohtani, and he has a workload that nobody can do. He's throwing side sessions and long tossing, rehabbing, and then hitting 2 dingers. But this goes to show you that guys who are like, I don't want to do too much, it's going to take away from my game. Like the dude had all of these like pregame and bobblehead things that he had to take care of. There was appearances. He had to bring his dog to the park to bring the first pitch home, and he still goes out and does what he does. How that ball went out, I have no idea. But it's amazing. On one hand, it's amazing what he can do, but on another hand, it's amazing that other teams weren't in on the bidding, because this is what he brings, and he could have brought to any one of the teams that all have very similar amounts of money, and one team chose to make sure they got him.
1 homer, by the way. 2 stolen bases. So he's at 42 and
He didn't
40.
have a second dinger? My bad.
He only hit one. He only hit
feels
one
like
leading
2.
off the game. No big deal.
Yeah.
What's crazy is the lines for this thing, and then the gold bobblehead, $7,000. How many of those did they give out?
Well, we don't know what it's worth. People were putting it up online.
No, I know, but it's just one. How many of those did they give out?
No, there's. It's not just one. I don't know what the breakdown is, honestly. My guess is like usually it's let's say they gave out 20,000, and then they'll pick 1,000 that'll be the gold style, something like that. Which I also think is a brilliant idea when you're giving those out. But then, did you see Alden Gonzalez, friend of the show, posted one that was on eBay? Someone put up like 16 or 17K for the gold one already. Hey, give it a shot.
Someone buys it.
That's how the
But
marketplace
the line,
works.
you saw the line to Dodger Stadium. For people that have never been to Dodger Stadium, that is a long way from the stadium where those people were lined. Like, that is far from the stadium.
Yeah.
The aerial view is great too. The aerial view when in the parking lot, it starts like winding around. It's tremendous.
It was early in the morning. And you're right, Kratz. I mean, obviously he's one of the best players in the sport, if not the best player in the sport, especially when he can pitch as well. And props to Decoy. His pup is also perfect. But how come more teams weren't in on him? I mean, it wasn't a $700 million contract.
Know, but
it was
people didn't know that.
$450.
And also LA is the perfect fit for him.
I know that LA is the perfect fit, but this is where, a year ago, we were like, he trains in the offseason in Seattle. They should look into a guy like this.
Agreed,
he
but
could take over the city. They
People
hung
didn't
up
know
on
what.
him.
People
They didn't know that he would do the deferred thing. I think people thought it was going to be a bigger contract. And he's in the place he wanted to be. He wanted to be in LA.
He did, but I'm saying, like, how do you not do that phone call, right? Like, if you intro
I'm sure
me
they
to
probably
somebody,
did. Maybe he wouldn't do that in another place.
The 700,
deferred. Maybe he would. But then there's also got to be a team that's like, 10 years from now, we're able to pay $68 million to one guy that's not playing for us anymore.
Sure.
And that's the word. Some teams are like, yeah, we can't really do that. So I think more teams were in on it. I just think the price tag got crazy. And then what I want to know, like, out of all the things we showed, how many times did he have to? Because I have dogs and I love dogs. I'm a dog person. Okay, I'm a dog.
Yeah.
Right. I might not be a grinder according to
Cut
Kraft,
that.
but I'm a dog person.
Cut that for all you Georgia fans. He just said he's a dog. Frankie, please cut that and put it on loop.
Not that kind of
dog.
dog.
I'm a dog. That's all I want to hear.
I didn't say I was a leg humper. I said I was a dog. Now, let me ask this: how many times did he have to practice with his dog to get his dog to go right to the mound, sit there, not pick up the ball, and then run? Like, watch this. This is perfect. He tells him a command. He knows right what to do. He stands there, and then he picks it up, and he takes it right to him, drops it. Watch. Boom, strike. Yep, okay, thank you. Now you get a treat out of the coolest treat bag you've ever seen and a high five.
Mm-hmm. I think it was
the dog knows Japanese.
Yeah, the dog definitely does Japanese commands.
Yeah, of course. What, you think they're English commands?
Maybe.
I mean, the dog's name is Decoy.
It might be a different name in Japanese.
It's probably something different. I don't know how you say
I
decoy
think
in
it is
Japanese.
A name in Japanese, and then they asked him. I think don't quote me on that one, but I think when it was back in the day, and they found out, and he said what the name was, they were like, "What does that mean in English?" And he said decoy. But what kind of question is that? That's like if you went to Germany and you're like, "Oh, do you command your dog in English or German?" Like, German.
There's plenty of English. There's plenty of American people who speak English that command their dogs in German because it's a strong, like when they go to schools, when they go to dog school, Alana would agree with this. When they go to dog training school, they teach them in German. Buster Posey's
this
dogs
is all news.
are that way.
I didn't know this. This is news to me because I have full-on conversations with my pup, so I don't know how you would be able to do that. But I guess other people just have their strict 10 commands and they say what to do.
I don't know, but apparently it took him 3 weeks according to our chat.
Yes, 3 weeks.
3 weeks. And he didn't train him. He had another trainer do it. He had a trainer, which is fine.
He can afford it.
No, I'm not saying that, but I mean, listen, my dogs are not the greatest dogs in the world. They are because everyone's dog is to them is the greatest dog in the world.
Yes.
But dogs are fun to train. That's like part of the fun is like trying to get them to do stuff.
Yeah.
And you give them the little treats, whatever the treats are that you want to give them. And you got to find that one. Like my dogs love peanut butter.
So that's the thing. You put peanut butter out there.
If I go to if like this morning I have a banana with peanut butter.
Yeah.
For breakfast, and as soon as I get the peanut butter jar out, and I just put it on the counter, dogs are like just like this, and they're drooling. There's like, and so you put the peanut butter on the banana, and then I take the knife and I get both sides covered, and then one of them gets one, and the other gets the other side. And they lick it, and they can't they will lick that thing cleaner than any dishwasher can get that thing, man. I'm telling you, that thing is not drop on it.
I have a friend who trained his dog to be obsessed with wine corks because he wants him to celebrate when they crack open a bottle. It's pretty cool.
Really?
Yeah, it's cool. As soon as he sees him go grab a wine bottle, the dog's lit and pumped, and then he uncorks it, and the dog grabs a cork. Just like the smell.
That dog's drunk, bro.
Yeah.
That dog gets that cork and he squeezes it. And he's like, "Oh, give me another one, bro."
Next step, you take the cork, puts it in a container with all the corks. I mean, it hasn't done that yet, but I don't know. It's cool. I've never seen that before.
No, that's pretty cool.
It's impressive. The dog's lit when he goes to grab a bottle of wine. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Dogs are great.
It's good for parties.
Pets are great. Pets are great.
Yeah. Anyway, Shohei Ohtani's really good. He's on pace for over 50-50 right now. 51 and 51. Is that what it is? Okay.
We've never had a 50-50. Right?
We have never had a 50-50, and as long as he stays healthy and on the field, he'll have one. Did you see the throw on the stolen base at third, and it hit him in the shoulder? Like, every time something happens now, I'm like, ah. You didn't see that on the stolen bag? Did you see that, Kratz?
You can't hurt Superman.
You
There's
guys
no
are sleeping
kryptonite in
until 1 in
Dodger
the morning.
Stadium.
Tommy John will argue with you.
Yeah.
He just wanted to hit more.
It was an awesome game, obviously, for Dodger fans to be able to experience what Shohei Ohtani just did. Now, let's stay out west. Also, a really good game. Diamondbacks Mets was going on at the same time. It was one of those nights where the early games were fine, but watching those two on at the same time, and I was flipping back and forth, was really enjoyable. So Severino falls early 4-0. Jack Peterson had a homer. Corbin Carroll's starting to heat up, and then really was heating up later on in that contest. But Mets came back. There was a really, really bad tag from Del Castillo. I don't know if you guys saw Keith Hernandez lighting him up on a money throw from Gurriel in left field. That's how the Mets took the lead with Starling Marte. It was just one. I mean, you guys take over for this part, and then I'll get to the end of the game. But I mean, this is how the Mets initially took the lead in that game, 5-4. He gets the baseball in time, doesn't block the bag, and it's just like, at least this is how fans took it.
This is the rule, though. These are the new rules.
But he has the ball.
Yeah, but they're still taught to, like, we're not allowed to block the plate, so we got to just do the old swipey swipe tag. It used to be you caught the ball and you were burying that dude. Like, I got the ball, and if you ain't running me over and if you're going head first, you're going to be hurt. Like, not intentionally, but I'm going to make it sting.
So what changed when you have the baseball?
But they're not taught that. They're taught you can't block the plate, so I just swipe at everything, and everyone's taught to slide so far away. Marte slid in straight, and he kind of swim moved him, right? So he saw the arm, so he went to the arm, and he swim moved him and got around him, right? But in the old days, like, you would have caught that ball, both knees down, he could have never got to the plate.
Right.
He would have been out by feet.
So you're saying that it happened so fast that you have to just train yourself to be more into the swipe action? You can't think so quickly like, I'm getting the baseball. Oh, wait, I have the baseball before he's here. Now I can.
Their whole life they've been told that, though. That's why. Right, Kratz? Am I wrong?
100%. There are some organizations that taught do not get in the way. Too much risk of injury. It's okay. So you're talking about minor leaguers. Del Castillo just got called up. I don't know if that's how they teach it. I doubt that the Diamondbacks are teaching that now. But it's one of those things that you just – unless it's a knee-jerk reaction to go and get in the way, I think he did just what he was taught or what he thought would have been enough in the situation.
Agreed. I mean, this is the way they're taught now. This is a great game, though. Corbin Carroll had a bomb.
Okay, so let's get to that.
He actually did have 2 homers.
Edwin Diaz gave up the big homer on Sunday against the Padres. He did have 2 homers, and then it is 8th inning. They call on Edwin early. Daniel Nunez has been great for them, but he looks like he's hurt again. So he comes back from the IL. He's been really good, guy that you should look up, okay? And he pitches once, didn't recover well, has some, I think, elbow or forearm tightness, whatever. And then so they bring in Diaz in the 8th to try and get him out of that. Walk, bags full. Corbin Carroll is like, hey, forget about the first 5 months. Let's have a time. He looks like he's back.
He figured it out.
The pop is back.
He figured it out. And Edwin Diaz, listen, everyone was like, oh, the Mets got Edwin Diaz. But he struggled this year.
But he was great for years. It's just he hasn't been the same since he came back.
Yeah, which happens. Like, when you miss time, yes. But, man, I mean – you know, he's got over a 4 ERA. He's got 6 blown saves.
Slider, dude. It was the same situation on Sunday. Obviously, I watch a lot of Mets games as well. But this one, I mean, hanging slider. It seems like guys,
especially to lefties, he tends to throw that slider. Listen, we used to call it the old wampin zone down and in. You throw that slider and you don't get it to that back foot, and you're almost better off hanging it up here and makes it almost into a cutter. But Kratz, if you throw that slider into that wampin zone down and into a lefty, they just drop that head. It's just like, whew. Like Jock Peterson did that off Severino. He tried to throw him a cutter, and he threw it down in the wampin zone. And Jock hit it damn near to Chandler from where they were. I mean, he killed that ball.
I've never heard that. I like that phrase, the wampin zone.
Yeah, we used to call it the wampin
I've never heard
zone.
that
That's
either.
cool.
Don't throw it in the wampin zone to the lefties, down and in.
I really like that. But are you guys
Never
talking
heard
about that either before the game or during the game when Edwin's coming in like, hey, this just happened on Sunday. look out in the wampin zone for that hanging
If
slider.
if I was a lefty
You don't
and
have to.
I'm facing a guy throwing sliders, I want that slider down and in.
Yeah.
Because that is just so easy for me to get. It is just natural. Phew. You just
Yeah, but if it's back foot and it's bite, it's different.
Yeah,
you're
but
saying if it's not.
But if it's not, it leads to homers.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you were asking Scott. You're asking for a lefty. You're not saying, "Oh man, I hope he's going to throw that back door." You just need to catch that pitch out front. The wampin zone is a slider that's caught out front. A back foot slider is probably going through the wampin zone. I like that wampin zone. It's probably going through the wampin zone. It just never gets to that back foot. To me, I don't think Edwin's the ones that you're seeing all the time. The highlights of his sliders, they just don't have as much horizontal movement as they had before. Whether that's sharp, bite, or what AJ's doing with his fingers. He's not asking for more money. He's not doing the more money Mike sign. But when you don't quite have the ball slippery, maybe it doesn't quite bite like it should with spider tack.
Because remember, he didn't pitch last year.
Yeah.
And that was the first. What was that? That was like the really crackdown last year. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
That was like the super crackdown on the sticky stuff. He didn't pitch last year, and he already got whacked once this year for it. I'm telling you, we've talked to a million pitchers, and they all say it's different. It's all different. Listen, you go across the league right now, spin rates are down. All that stuff is down, like across the league. Now, offense, they still can't hit. But that stuff, they wanted to curtail the spin rates and all that. It's down.
Yeah, Bueller's had that problem too. Yeah, it's a good call. By the way, Mets now 13 losses when leading after 7 innings. That's a lot. Also, props to their fans. They were out there in Arizona. I mean, that sounded like a heavy, heavy Mets contingent. Whenever something good happened on there, and I was like, whoa. Like, if you don't look at the game and you just listen, you think it's a home game. So, I mean, they certainly, I don't want to say traveled. I just think a lot of fans live out there. And lastly, rookie Justin Martinez closing for the Diamondbacks.
Woo-hoo, baby.
Keep in mind, they don't have Christian Walker, Gabriel Moreno, and Ketel Marte. Those are 3 of their 4 best position players, right? It's those 3 plus Carroll now, this version of Carroll. Those are their 4 best position players. They're missing 3 of them.
Yeah.
They just had a 6-game win streak snapped yesterday. Now they won again. Like, just want to keep pointing out what they're doing because that team's a problem. They're either going to lose in the wild card round or they're going to win the World Series. That's the kind of team the Diamondbacks are right now, right?
Depends who their first round matchup is because they can settle into a longer series. They showed that with the Phillies last year, and they make adjustments. Brent Strom, pitching coach, is not afraid to make adjustments, and he has pitchers that are able to make adjustments. He doesn't just have elite flame-throwing starters who are like, here, see how far you can hit this ball, then I'm going to throw as hard as I can through a net.
All right, let's step aside. Yes, we are going to go over the wardrobe for Tristan Casas on the field. And some people want us to talk about Stephen A. Smith's baseball knowledge. Others don't. We'll give it a couple minutes.
Come on. We'll give it a couple seconds.
A couple seconds, okay? We'll go over the Yankees batting order so he knows how baseball works.
As far as stories, I mean, the first thing that comes to mind, playing against him in 2017 when he was just on top of the world. I mean, I think he woke up one morning in the offseason and just said, I'm going to get on base 60% of the time. That's basically what he did. But kind of in the middle of that, they came to Toronto, which was special for him being from that area. And, he's having this like really long at-bat, fouling balls basically out of my mid in the first inning. And he was doing that thing where he like puts the bat like in between his legs and kind of leans on it. And, I'm still pretty young and just trying to make sure that, I don't call the wrong pitch to what was at the time the greatest hitter in the game. And he just goes, hey, I really like your swing. And then he just like gets back in and, fouls off another ball. And he's like, it reminds me of Mark Trumbo. And he's just having this conversation in between pitches with me. And I was like, Joey, first of all, that's the nicest thing anybody's ever said to me. And second of all, I'm not really sure what to call now that you're, analyzing my swing. And sure enough, a couple pitches later, hit a homer off the WestJet sign in Toronto. I just couldn't believe it. I was speechless.
And let's put Ohtani maybe out of it. Would you vote for Ellie De La Cruz?
Yeah, I definitely would. I think if you look at the games that we've won, he's almost always right in the middle of it in some way, whether that's running bases or, I mean, the most ridiculous thing that I've seen, and I've seen it multiple times, is some of the balls that he tracks down the left field line that have been hits since the beginning of time, and he does it so effortlessly. It's just amazing what kind of space he can cover. Like just little baseball plays like that, I think are the ones that kind of go underappreciated and are probably not even um, reflected enough in even some of the new school metrics. But the other thing that comes to mind with him is like the jump that he's made since last year is really astounding. And like I think that anytime you have a guy that's athletically gifted, like I remember I played with Vladdy Guerrero Jr. And it was kind of the same way. It's like you sort of assume that it's just this natural talent and that's it. But with both guys, I'm talking about Ellie, his baseball IQ is extremely high. And I know he makes some outs on the bases, but that's because he has more opportunity to make outs on the bases because he's running so much and he's aggressive. And the way he's gotten better with defense, his fundamentals with just his technique, fielding ground balls, the way that he has done dirt ball reads, some of the adjustments he's been able to make to draw a few more walks than he did last year. Just all these things are coming together. And I don't care who's alongside the race moving forward, he's going to be in MVP conversations because he's only going to get better.
Yeah, that's what he said.
That's what he said.
That's what he said.
That's what he said. I'm sure many of you saw Tristan Casas on the field the other day. He's always on the field doing stuff. You know, he does yoga and grounding and all of that, which I'm cool with.
I have no problem. Why does he do this on the field, though? Why doesn't he do this at home?
Because he's at the field early and he wants to do it at a certain period before the game. It's a routine thing.
Okay.
I don't think it's a big deal.
I don't mind it. I just think that, I don't know, maybe Krause might feel different than me. But doing it like with shirtless and with like to me, that is just like, hey, I want everybody to look at me. I'm weird and different and quirky and whatever you want to call it. And he's like, because you can do this in I'm sure you can find a place in the clubhouse to do this.
No, you need grass.
Oh, he has
That's
to do it on the
grounding
grass?
is. It's grass. Yeah.
So, but I mean, again, like, and I know what I saw his quote because I can and I wanted to and I did. But again, that just goes back to, it's like he's crying for someone to say, oh, let's see what cute thing that Tristan Casas did today, which is cool. I get it.
Here's my thing. If you're good, you can do like something like this. I mean, if
I agree,
you're crushing the league,
agreed,
they'll love you. If you're not playing well or you're not on the field much, then you'll get criticized for it, right? Isn't that fair? Like if he was your teammate, but he was the best player on your team, and he wore a Spider-Man mask with no shirt on and did grounding and yoga every day, what would you say? He's a different cap, but dude can rate.
Yeah, but there would also be, I mean, as a young guy, there would definitely be, I don't know, maybe, again, I could be way off on this.
What if he's 40-40 and he's
No,
and
I
he's
agree, but there would
whatever.
still
I'm just
be,
saying.
so the difference is, and again, do whatever the hell you want. I don't really care, as long as you show up and play. But there would have always been a guy that was like, hey, like, we don't do that here. Like, go in the back and do your yoga.
But then, okay, I mean, I know you
I
don't
know.
like
Listen,
role play.
I'm just saying the way it used to be. You're role playing, and
I'm
again,
Casas.
Krause, tell me
Hey.
if I'm wrong, but like, is this not like somebody just saying, like, if now if Rafi Devers did this, right, when he first came up, do you think David Ortiz would have grabbed him and been like, you got to perform first before you go to this?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I brought up, though. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But if he's a stud, if he's the star of your team, and you say, hey, maybe just do that somewhere else, it's, you know, it's almost like a dress code thing or whatever, you know. Because, I mean, think about it. The Yankees still have facial hair policy. Like,
yeah, but that's
some
an
team could be like, yo, we don't
policy.
want you in a mask on the grass with your shirt off and all this stuff going on. And he might say, why? Not hurting anyone. Just on the grass before the game. Helps me hit homers. I'm just saying, like, on the other side of what might be going down behind the scenes. Does it really matter?
Extra vitamin D increases your testosterone. So he's enjoying soaking up that extra sunlight that he's getting. What's worse, though? Him doing that or Gabe Kapler doing push-ups out in the grass on the field where everybody can see it? Like, to me,
It's the same thing, isn't it? It's kind of the same
I
thing.
think
It's like, hey, everybody check me out.
I think it's worse as a manager doing it. It's still the same thing as a like a look at me thing, but it's worse as a manager. Here's my thing, AJ. What's the weirdest thing you would have done out in the open for Knox? And maybe this puts him in a situation where he is so confident in his routine. He knows that, he feels secluded with the mask and glasses on. He knows he's getting the sunlight that he wants. He's grounding, so he feels present in the situation. How far would you go to get where people would see it to make sure you're locked in?
No, listen, I got no problem with him doing it, but Scott asked me what I thought. Do whatever you got to do. I have no problem with him doing whatever the heck he wants to do. And if it helps you get better and play, great. But Scott asked what I thought about it, and that's what I think. I think, like, because there's nothing. How do I say? There's a way I think that people have been taught over the years to do certain things, not in the public eye.
Unwritten rules.
It's not even an unwritten rule. It's just somebody would grab you and say,
professional,
do it this way because this is more
Be a pro.
professional. Yes.
Yeah.
Right. And I think now, and again, this stuff doesn't bother me at all. Like, I think it's kind of funny. It's quirky, right?
Yeah.
Whatever you want to call it. It's him being him, right? Maybe put a shirt on to do it. I don't know. But
vitamin D, that's real.
Yeah, true. But I don't know. It's one of those things to me that I'm surprised. Again, nobody grabbed him. And again, he hasn't been healthy this year.
Yeah.
So there's other factors in this, but do whatever you got to do. Like, if this makes you happy,
I would
go
do
for it.
Bad things for Knox.
Yes.
If it leads to Knox. Correct. Exactly. So how many people would do bad things for Knox, right?
No, yeah.
Mark brought up a good point. Platinum hair?
That was
like,
a bet.
Was that a look at me? Was that a look at me thing or not?
It ended up being that, but it was a bet. It was a bet. And by that time, I was also, I'd done some things.
So
there it is.
You were a little bit more established.
Yeah, look. It's right here. Look.
But how far does being a pro go?
But I also cut it after I hit 300, and then the next year I came to spring training, I didn't have it anymore. And Reinsdorf walks up to me and goes, "What happened to your hair?" And I go, "I was tired of it." And he goes, "You hit 300 last year." And I go, "That ain't the hair."
That's good, especially from someone who was superstitious.
Yeah,
And
I didn't hit 300 after that year, so I should have kept it.
Okay, now let's spend a few minutes on Stephen A. Smith's coverage of baseball. So
let's spend about as much time on this as Stephen A. has watched baseball in his life. How's that?
But you do got Juan Soto batting up behind you. You understand what I'm saying? They can't get around you a little bit. So, I mean, they got to pitch to the brother. You understand what I'm saying? Because you got Soto waiting in the wings. So all of those things facilitate Aaron Judge being who he is.
First of all, okay, Stephen A. Smith can say whatever he wants, Kratzy, but you got a guy on this show sitting next to him that does an MLB, Major League Baseball Network show every day, every weekday. He didn't correct him that Aaron Judge hits behind Juan Soto, and it's usually Stanton or Austin Wells hitting behind Judge. So where was I'm not even going to say that guy's name, Russo, whatever his name is.
The guy that yells.
Where was he to correct him? He should have been like, "You're wrong." As soon as he went off this, he should have been like, "No, you're wrong." And the guy lives in New York, and he's a New York guy. So I don't know. Where's Pap when I need him? I need Pap.
We can actually speak to this, Kratz. Like, okay, AJ and I sit next to each other every day. We are not perfect. We mess things up. You can't watch every baseball game. We do the best we can. But Judge and Soto are having like Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig season next to each other. If you're going to do a show like this, come on, you watched some baseball. I get their show is different. But again, if I said that, AJ would have stopped me immediately and been like, "Bro, he's never hit behind him."
And I would hope you'd do the same to me.
Yeah. And I'd be like, "Oh, sorry, I meant to flip him." Or, God forbid, I never watched a Yankee game, right? Like, I agree. I don't understand. We correct each other, 5 to 10 times a day, all of us? Be like, "No, he had one homer, not two." All that. This one's big. I don't think we're trying to nitpick here. You know what I'm saying, Kratz? But if you're going to do your homework and you're going to get up, on your stool and be like, "Hey, let me tell you about baseball," mean, that's a bad one, and then your friends aren't helping you to fix it up because you can act, right? Like a lot of that show is acting. So he could have been like, oh, duh, that's what I meant. I meant it's this way then that way, right? He could have been like, of course, that's what I'm talking about. I mean, it's Soto then Judge, and he's protecting him the other way, whatever, right? But there was none of that. They just went off and then they moved on.
It gets what ESPN wants. Is the clicks, whether positive or negative, it was clicks. And it's also, to me, it's one of two things. He either meant to say it and meant to be funny and, get a rise out of people, or he doesn't know. But either way, to me, it doesn't help grow the game on a network where they don't really do much. So the little bit that they're giving their fans, their NBA, NFL fans, that watch ESPN, the little bit that they're giving them, it's not correct content. So even if it was going to grow the game, it's not growing it correctly.
Facts. It makes everyone look bad. I know some people don't care, but
it makes the guy who works for MLB. That's the one that still astonishes me. He's a Yankee guy. He always talks about Joe DiMaggio and Mickey Mantle and
Sad Cat should have said something.
Yeah, he's the one that should have said something. He should have stopped him and said, "Hey."
Maybe he wasn't listening.
Yeah, but he quit. He quit last year, so he wasn't doing anything. That's why
I went on his show one
retired
time.
He
retired, so he can use that excuse. He can say I'm retired.
What was his retirement thing? If something didn't happen, he would retire. And then he said, "Oh, just kidding."
I don't remember what it was already.
I forget.
Pap retired him. Pap retired him for me.
Pap retires a lot of the best. Did you see, by the way? Sorry, I have to go here. When we had the whole back and forth with Pap and Stephen A, and then Stephen A went on and like, who is this guy? Who is this guy? Again, I'm like, you don't know who Jonathan Papelbon is? Who is this guy? Like, now we got these no names coming at me. Go stand on a soapbox in Boston and say, look at this no name shouting at me. See how that goes.
Everywhere Pap's gone, he's been the opposite of a no name. Whether you agree with him or not, he's been the opposite. And the story he told about him getting kicked out of the clubhouse was confirmed by the people that, I mean, it was years ago. But
he said, didn't he say, like, I could sue him or something? Like, okay, go ahead. We'll bring some witnesses to the stand. I mean, that's bad. If you're going to go in, better do your homework. It's a tough one. Tough one to swallow. So hopefully we covered that the way our fans thought it was supposed to be covered, because it's baseball the way it should be covered. That's foul territory. Oh, if they came back from a 3-2 NLCS, as if that's never happened before. And the Diamondbacks did come back. So there you go.
Maybe we could get him to come on and explain himself. Oh, wait, he doesn't respond to anything.
Which one?
The MLB guy.
Oh, does he not respond to anything? No.
Yeah,
I bet you I could get him on.
Let's go. Bring him on. I'd love to bring him on, and I tell him to beat it.
I probably could get him on. I don't know.
We'll bring him on one day when Todd's on and you're on and you're off.
Perfect.
All right. Yes. Quick break. YouTube crowd will answer a question or two or go over something we didn't hit. TV and get ready for a team that we're going to cover called the Atlanta Braves. That's good again, especially if you're watching on Valley Sports South. They're making noise and they have a Cy Young winner. All right, 2 minutes on the Astros thumping the Phillies 3-0 yesterday. Spencer Arrighetti's on fire, and Yordan Alvarez had a 3-homer game. The first one, by the way, did you see the homer on that first one? That whatever, It was off speed. I don't remember if it was slider, changeup, whatever. It was telling away.
He's good.
It's like, woo.
He's really good.
That was nice. And Taijuan Walker is struggle city right now. I mean, he is not going to be on the playoff roster at this point. Yeah, there's talks that they might cut him. He just doesn't have it. Didn't strike anyone out yesterday. But on the flip side, you had a no-hitter going into the 8th. They replaced Bregman at third base, and some fans were freaking out on socials, and they actually brought the question to Joe Espada post game, and he was like, "We're playing 18 straight. I have to give my guys a little breather. It's 94 degrees outside. I'm very much aware of the no hitter and where everybody is at, but right now we have bigger goals, which is to win this division." Not to mention, he didn't say this, but Bregman's been vocal about his elbow and all that. Like, you're beating the crap out of a team. I'm sorry, teams don't care about no hitters like that.
No, they don't.
They're trying to, especially the Astros.
They've had enough of them lately, especially.
Yeah, they've had no hitters, and they're trying to win a World Series. So I thought it was just really well done by Joe Espada.
As a young guy, Arrighetti probably cares about the no-hitter, but if he were to say something or have that focus, I'm sure any of the veterans that are there will be like, you do know what like our ultimate goal is here. And I think guys easily get in line with that. So tough play. Wouldn't have been it. Trey ended up getting a real hit if you're arguing that wasn't a hit or it was a hit.
Yep, exactly. Chas McCormick was optioned, by the way. I mean, he was really vocal about his struggles. Actually hit a pinch hit homer, and then they optioned him right after. I'm sure that was already in the works, but he was sitting for that series. It's tough for him. He's from the Philly area. He's been really good for them. I mean, last year he was awesome. He had some really big moments 2 years ago, including that catch in the World Series and last year. So yeah, I like it.
Baseball's very, very hard. And also, listen, Arrighetti pitched awesome yesterday. And Yordan Alvarez hit 2 balls that were just, they were like 2 irons. They were like, the one to center he hit after, whoever hit the one right before him. And then he hit the one to center on the next pitch that they barely even got back to. And it was like just over the second baseman's head. And the next thing you know, the center fielder's like, oh, that's in the bushes out there. That was, that guy's a friggin' animal, bro.
By the way, Dubon had no idea there was no hitter until there was the first knock in the 8th.
Dubon made the second best catch yesterday, too.
That's true. We'll get to that, too. Busy day. I'm so sick of people counting out the Atlanta Braves.
You?
No, not me.
Claudia?
Definitely not me. Kratz, vouch for me.
Nope. You've been okay. Everybody relax stage with them the whole time.
Focused. I'm like, I get it. This might not be the dream year. They might not win the World Series, but this is still a good team. They built a really deep ball club. When everything's intact, you're like, this team's insane. So when they lose a couple stars, it's still a really good team. Austin Riley, I think, is going to come back. And, they built up an okay lead. Now it's getting a little better. Hey, they're playing the Phillies for a weekend set. They're 5 games back. Crazier things have happened.
Crazier things have happened, but I don't know. If the Phillies win 1 game, it's basically over.
Braves would just be happy to get into the playoffs.
The Braves get into the playoffs.
They're in a good track.
You lose Strider, you lose Acuna, you lose Riley for the time, you lose Murphy. We can go on and on. According to Kratz, they didn't have any injuries, not like the Phillies. But listen, they're going to get into the postseason and they're going to be fine and they're going to be dangerous because Chris Sale, Max Fried, Charlie Morton, Schwellenbach, in the back end of their bullpen, Iglesias hasn't given up a run in like forever. So, and if they get Riley and Olsen gets going and those guys swing it, they're still dangerous. And the Phillies, you don't want to play the Braves because they're going to have revenge on their mind if it gets to that.
Yeah. Oh, the Braves can beat the Phillies in a series. Ronaldo Lopez was one of the best signings of the past offseason. His ERA is like 2, right? In that range still?
I just want to see where he's at when he gets to the postseason.
Yeah.
Innings-wise.
Do you want to play the Dodgers? Pretty much everybody that's going into the postseason besides the Brewers have a good starting rotation. Do you want to play the Dodgers right now or the Braves? If you have a first-round matchup, which team do you want to play?
Best out of 5?
Best out of 5. And I know Yamamoto's coming back. He threw 2 innings yesterday. Glasnow's going to be coming back, hopefully, by the end of the regular season is what it sounds like now.
So is Yamamoto in this series? Is Glasnow in this series? Is Riley in a series for the Braves? Can I get more context?
Riley's in the series. Yamamoto's in the series. Glasnow's on 60 pitches.
I would rather not face the Dodgers.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's crazy to think that the Braves could make a run.
Always. 21, everyone counted them out, and they made a run and won the whole thing.
Yeah.
So, no, they can do it. As long as Chris Sale's healthy and you have Fried healthy, and you have Lopez healthy, you got a shot.
I think that's a good way to put it. The wild card teams in the National League, to me, are 50-50 with the division winners to win the World Series or to make it to the World Series on the National League side to win the pennant, right?
Okay.
The Padres, the Diamondbacks, the Braves, if those end up being the three, I think they have just as good of a chance as the Phillies, the Brewers, and the Dodgers. And I don't usually feel that way. Now, some of it has to do with the past and how wild card teams thrive right now, but those are three dangerous teams.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sale can shut down the Dodgers lineup.
Mm-hmm. So could Fried.
That's where I'm saying, like, you can't say, well, it's neat, they're going to make the playoffs. They can win the World Series. You can't say they have no shot of winning the World Series when you have those two guys healthy at the top of your rotation.
That's why when some people are like, the NL's not that good. Yeah, sizzle that. The NL's not that good. Actually, the NL is pretty good. You know,
sure, there's a couple teams. Are you kidding me?
There's the Marlins, the Rockies, whatever. But most of the NL is actually a pain, and that's why you're not seeing 100 win ball clubs this year or paces for that.
I mean,
right?
It's all kind of jumbled up. Yes, the Marlins, Rockies, Nats are probably the three teams.
Sure.
And the Pirates were good until recently. I mean, you blow a 7-run lead in the seventh inning, you're usually not very good. But the rest of the teams are jumbled kind of around 500. And I mean, right now it would be Brewers versus Braves. Brewers don't want to play the Braves. They can't hit left-handed pitching, and they got all kinds of left-handed pitching, right? And the Padres and the D-backs, that's going to be a war. And then the winners of those, play the Phillies and the Dodgers. Thank God Fox has the NL this year. Thank you, Fox.
Do they? Does Fox have the NL?
Yes.
Oh, baby.
Yes, we do.
Good. Which one do you
and
want?
Obviously
I want Phillies Braves in the DS, bro.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Easy travel, East Coast. Let's go. I don't have to go to California. I have to go to
don't
FI
wanna
all
go
the way
to
to LA.
San Diego?
I mean, if
LA?
it's San Diego versus LA, I'll take that.
Yes.
Or even
I was
Arizona,
going to say that'll be electric.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say this though: Philly, Atlanta is going to be good. If Kratz can pay for a meal for once in Philly, it'd be amazing.
Philly, yeah, take you out to some golf. By the way, to continue on the wild card section here, because I just want to keep moving. The Twins are now just 3 games up on the Red Sox. So didn't we cook the Red Sox with Pap the other day, and then the Twins got swept? That's the other end of the equation here with the Braves, with Olsen thriving. Chris Sale's a Cy Young winner at this point, as long as he finishes okay, right? And the Twins get swept.
Yeah.
Or
it's okay.
Yeah,
interesting.
3 games. A lot happened to get to 3 games. Sorry, they're still cooked.
Okay.
Red Sox are still 4-6 in their last 10. It took the Braves losing 4 in a row for them to get to 3. The Twins. Sorry, the Twins aren't going to lose 4 in a row very often. Twins are 2-8 in their last 10.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Meh.
A lot happened.
Not a thing.
I still think the Twins are going to be in. I think the playoff team's already set. It's just a matter of order. Yeah, I think they're pretty much set.
Twins have Toronto, Tampa Bay, KC, Angels, Reds, Guardians, Red Sox, Marlins, Orioles.
Where's that Red Sox? Are they playing for the Mayor's Cup in Fort Myers?
It's in Boston.
Oh, baby.
In September.
That dirty water.
September. We'll see. And then lastly, the Yankees drop a series to the Nationals. Soto, Judge, and Giancarlo 4 for 34. The big number was 1 for 28 risk. Runners in scoring position in that series.
That's amazing. 5 and 21 after the first inning.
When trailing at the end of the first inning this season, tied with the Pirates for the 3rd worst record in baseball. That doesn't do anything for me.
Yeah, it means they don't come back. If they give up a run in the first, they don't come back.
Right.
Which is surprising because they have a lot of power.
Yeah, but it's a 26-game sample, right? There's 26 games where they were trailing.
So let me ask you this. The White Sox are 0 and I don't know how many when they're trailing after like 6 innings. Does that not mean anything to you?
No, that one. See, the later game action means more to me. That means there's probably a bullpen problem or you're not as clutch, right? You're not coming back if you let up a lead. Like the Padres are the prime example. Look at San Diego late in games this year versus last year. It's a completely different team. They didn't have the clutchness of Merrill and Profar last year, among others. They didn't have the bullpen like they do this year. They've completely turned around their humongous flaw from last year.
AJ, tell me if I'm wrong. When you have a lead, you pitch differently to home run hitters. You're okay with them hitting home runs because the home run doesn't beat you. If it's a close game where you're down, you can't be giving up anymore. So to me, I try to glean something from a stat. That's the only thing I can really glean from it.
I got something for you because Pinstripe Territories, our new Yankees show, and Derek's crushing it directing the show today, and you can catch him on Pinstripe after every game. He said the Yanks tend to give up multiple runs in the first. Like Carlos Rodon has a brutal first inning ERA. So here, when I'm like digging
Dylan Cruz
into the
first
stat,
homer career. Congrats.
yeah, but you know what I'm saying? Like, sure, if you're looking at that sample size and half those games you're down 3 or 4-0 versus some teams just being down 1-0, that's going to make their record after the first better. I'm just saying I don't really care about that.
They scored 2
like
runs in
bringing it
2
up.
games against left-handed starters. They just these last 2
Ding,
games.
ding, ding.
That's the biggest thing is two good lefties. I'm not taking nothing away from the seasons they've had, Gore and Mitchell Parker. But to me, like it shows maybe there's some type of weakness there. Can't hit lefties very well. Who knows? You got to look at a bigger sample size in 2 games, but it's a thing.
Didn't they lose to?
It was Gore yesterday.
It was
and then
Corbin the day before.
Why?
They beat
Oh,
Parker.
Patrick Corbin.
They beat Parker.
Yep.
Yeah, they lost to Corbin and Mitchell.
So who's the kryptonite?
Mackenzie Gore.
Who's the kryptonite for them if they continue to struggle against lefty starters? And then obviously everything gets accentuated in the postseason if you face good
Patrick
lefties.
Corbin, he's beaten him in the postseason before, hasn't he?
Yeah, but he ain't playing in the postseason.
They might claim him. Somebody might claim him at the dump deadline. Orioles might claim him at the dump deadline.
Who's the team though? Who's the team that's got
Braves.
lefty starters? Yeah, but that would mean they're in the World Series.
Oh,
In the AL side, who's shutting them down?
Astros? I don't know.
Framber.
No, I don't know. It's not a pop quiz.
I thought you actually had a team in mind.
No.
I was like, who are we talking about? Royals are all
Framber
righty. I guess for Reagans.
Framber, yeah.
Guardians don't have
Reagans,
lefties.
is that who you just said?
I said Reagans. Twins are righties.
Reagans, yeah.
Orioles are right-handed heavy, so nobody.
I mean, the Twins have no chance in a series against the Yankees. They're cursed. That's never happening. All right, let's do some locks and go over game previews when we swing back on FT, and then we still have to hit the just wildness that occurred between the Rangers and the White Sox yesterday. So stick around for that. All right, so I'll try to bring up some fan questions here because we haven't gotten to them for a minute. We've been busy today. Blueberry, I think, is the name in the chat. What do you think the Blue Jays should do in the offseason? Sign Vladdy, trade Bo, and look at free agent bats? Yep.
Yeah, pretty much crushed it.
Yep.
Or sign Vladdy and Bo and still go after free agents.
Mm-hmm.
They were in an Ohtani. They obviously have money if they need it.
Mm-hmm. Some people asked about the Orioles. They liked Jason La Canfora's segment. I mean, he brings it and he watches every game. Here's my thing. And I said this on their radio show yesterday. Well, okay, I'm going to present both sides here real quick. So I think what they did in the offseason is okay because they had an ownership change underway and the last owner was going to do anything. So you got to give the new ownership group an offseason. They didn't have one. They took over at the end. They got burned. So I'm like, okay, that's fair. Here's where you don't have an excuse. What just happened at the trade deadline?
Nothing.
Carlos Estevez. You couldn't outbid the Phillies for Carlos Estevez? Tanner Scott. What about Lucas Ursig, who's been great besides yesterday? Couldn't outbid the A's or the Royals to get Lucas Ursig for the A's?
Require what Jason said. You have to give up your prospects, and they don't give them up.
So you had to get the leftovers from the Phillies. The Phillies were like, don't need Soto, don't need Dominguez. All right, we'll dump them to the Orioles. That was a bad look. That's what could burn them. That's what he said. Like, what do you want to do in the offseason? I want the Orioles to have a mega bullpen. Why don't the Orioles have at least one of the 3 that I just mentioned, if not 2? This is your time to strike.
They wanted the sixth best left-hander on the Marlins. That's
so that they have team control for multiple seasons of starters. They're doing their off-season homework during the season. They're more concerned about that than they were about this season, and he's right on that part. This is your winning window right now.
But they've done that the last 3 years. Starting out with 3 years ago when they traded Jorge Lopez. I'm not saying they were going to make the playoffs that year, but you traded your best reliever when you were like 2 or 3 games above 500, and then you sent a message and the team
The MLB has like 5 to 7 owner GM combos that live like there's no tomorrow. And then everybody else lives like they're on a 5 to 7 year plan.
Well, like Dombrowski, he goes for it every year, right? Whatever team he's on, he's going to give you your best shot.
And how many titles has he won? And also how many World Series has he been to? Even more.
I agree.
Right?
Listen,
He's running circles around other dudes that think they're smarter than him for 20 plus years now.
but he also leaves the team.
So what? I'll take 5 bad seasons if I win a title.
How about 20?
Fine. He's smiling. Ugh, I'm cold again. So let's go over some locks. I lost yesterday. Corbin Burns is struggling right now.
He only gave one earning, so a little bit deceiving.
I know
because they made some errors, but yes,
but
he
still
is struggling.
He's
Look at his numbers; he's giving up a lot of runs.
He's not putting hitters away like he usually does. Do you think he's pressing because there's just a lot going on there? He is the guy in the rotation. He's got a looming free agent situation. He's got a new kid. Like there's just a lot going on in his life.
Yeah. And he was pitching in LA. Scott Boras usually sits right behind home plate as his agent.
I wouldn't like that.
With his whole crew. So, yeah.
I'd be nervous.
But, I mean, to give up a homer to Shohei, unbelievable. Kratz said it. I don't know how he hit the ball.
Ohtani, yeah. The leadoff homer was crazy.
That's
so
a fly
you
ball,
fell
right?
Yankees lost. Yeah. And Kratz, nice job on your SGP.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Not sure how it hit, but it hit.
It hit. All right. Money bags, we're in a good spot. Let's get to our locks. Eric Kratz, would you like to lead the way?
I'm going Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper is, I think he's hitting I wrote it down, 423 against Charlie Morton in 24 at-bats. He has 7 stakes and 1 homer. He loves facing the Braves, and he loves facing Charlie Morton. And it was coming out. Bohm's number was way, way tougher here, and it was coming out at minus 105, so even money. To win 100, I'm putting 105 down. Easy peasy. Oh, I'm sorry. It's hits, runs, and RBIs over 1.5.
Okay. I'm confused, but everyone can look at the graphic.
Yeah, you lost me.
Yeah, everyone can look at the graphic. Though. It's okay.
Yeah, it's fine. No big deal.
Just show the graphic like this, Kratz. There you go. That's Kratz's pick. All right, AJ, want to explain yours?
Yeah, I have Baltimore and Dodgers over 9. Why? Because Povich versus Bobby Miller. Neither one of them has pitched very well at all. One has a 6 ERA, the other has a 7.5. So I think 9 should be easy for them to get to. And then Aguilar, 4.5 punch outs against Oakland. Why? Because Oakland strikes out a lot. Mm-hmm. And if he usually gets about a strikeout an inning, so I figure he can probably go 5 innings. At least the Reds need him to because their starter didn't do very well last night, so they're going to need him to give him some innings. And I think 5 strikeouts isn't a lot to ask. And plus, the number was big, 261. It's a big number for 2 things. So, 266. Excuse me.
266.
So, I'm all for it.
Okay,
I always look for the plus 200 and above.
Yeah, you like to go big. I'm a minus money guy, but usually try and keep it to. I'm usually trying to look for games in the even money range. So I'm dropping 105 to win a hundo today. I'm fading Bowden Francis, which is going against the grain, but I
almost threw a no-hitter last time.
I know, but I was reading a lot this morning from all the dudes that post betting content all over the world that I like to follow, and like everybody's on this game. So I'm like, okay, that either means whoa or
whoa.
They're really wrong. But the reason why they're doing that is like the Red Sox are pretty heavily favored to win this game. In all the matchups versus like Cutter Crawford versus Bowden Francis, they're like Bowden's going to have more hits allowed, extra base hits, homers, the whole deal. Like everything's against him. His K-prop's low. His StatCast peripherals are low, right? So I just think it's one of those classic cases where they're like, dude, he just came off a long outing. He does not have great chase rate, whiff rate, hard hit contact's not good, the whole thing, and you're just playing the numbers game. So I'll play it with him. 4.5 runs or more from the Boston Red Sox plus the Blue Jays bullpen is trash. So we'll see what happens. Let's get that first bet offer going, please. Jamie Foxx, thank you. Up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if your first bet falls. If you're new to the BetMGM mix, using the bonus code FOUL, FOUL. Sign up and deposit at least $10 into that account to make it happen. And if the bet loses, your bonus bets will be available once your initial wager is settled. Come on back because we have a special announcement to make. Come right back to us. Okay. Eric Kratz, where are you going to be on September 12th, 2024? So in 2 weeks.
I'll be slinging them chips all over the table. Out in the Borgata at Atlantic City, throwing that progressive bounty shootout. Come on. Need this. Need those bounties. It makes for aggressive poker, too.
Here, so I'll be there with you. There'll be a good chunk of the FT fam. AJ's got to call a game, so that's fair. He's got a good excuse. But there are double-digit former big leaguers joining us. Now, we're not going to announce any of them. We just did the announcement today. We'll basically lay out one name per day of who's going to be joining us between now and then. Deal?
Deal. Am I the first day?
You're the first guy. So the first former big leaguers, Eric Kratz.
First day, check.
There's some dudes that have more homers than Kratz that are on the list.
I am not. Like you said, I'm being Cleveland.
But you saw the list. Like, there's some dudes that have hundreds of homers more than Eric Kratz. So if you are in the area or you want to get to the area, we will be, around doing the show out in the open there at Borgata like we did, often last year. Then we'll play in the tournament, which you can do too. So hit us up on Instagram with a DM if you want more information. But that is some of the info there. They're running their Borgata Poker Open from September 3rd to 17th. But we'll be there for the 12th for that one-night run. We'll do the show, and then the event starts right after us. They're catering it all to our schedule so that we can all join the tables right afterward. So buy-in's $220. That's good for a poker tournament.
Mm-hmm.
No, we're not going
the
crazy.
One that I was in was much more expensive than that.
It was. FT for the people on this one. So go check it out. We'll talk about it each day and lay out which player is going to be joining us. Swinging right back with the head count in Chicago yesterday for their game, plus catch of the year from Travis Jankowski, maybe?
Yes.
Question mark. The only kumbaya way that I can try to describe this to people that have asked me is maybe he got a talking to behind the scenes and they were like, stop doing this or don't do this. Tell the guy to go fix it and let him come back out and give him a second chance.
Why does he get a second chance?
I don't know.
That's the problem I have
here.
Why do certain guys get a second chance and certain guys don't? Listen, this is not a Justin Steele thing. This is, whatever. Correct. But why did he get to go wash it off? Why did Max Scherzer go get told to wash it off, have an MLB employee watch him wash his hands, follow him back out to the mound, and then he got popped? Why?
Didn't Clark Schmidt have this last year where he could go?
Yeah, there's been multiple guys that have been able to go wash their hand. Why did Edwin Diaz from the same umpire not just go wash your hand and come right back?
We have 3 layers. One is I just check and I kick you out. 2 is I check, I tell you to fix it, and you come back. 3 is I check, I tell you to fix it. The dude says it's okay, and then I still kick you out. What the hell are we doing?
There's got to be a better way. There has to be a better way. There has to be something uniform that you can come up with. I don't know. Remember we had Boris on last year, and he's talking about sticky versus tacky versus just tacky. And there's got to be some way. Again, this all goes back to the original argument, though. Give these guys something that is uniform that they can all use. Whether it's on the mound, in the dugout. Major League Baseball has enough money to have a guy sitting there watching a guy, touching a guy in the dugout saying, all right, you're good. Now you can touch this sticky thing and take it out to the mound with you, and that's it. Right? There's got to be a way to do that.
Yeah, I'm not going to rebut Jeff's opinion in the sense that he's certainly entitled to have that opinion, just like everybody else. But I would make 2 points to that. One is you can go back, and I've done this, to 1910, and you will find guys in the newspapers who played in 1890 complaining about the state of the game in 1910, right? Every generation, this happens every 20 years. And I remember 6 weeks ago or so in The Athletic, they did this big player poll, right? What players do you like to watch? Who's the most overrated? And one of the questions was, what do you, as the current generation of players, what's your biggest gripe with the previous generation of players? And overwhelmingly, the answer was, they don't respect enough how much harder it is now, how much more difficult the game is. And that's not coming from me. That's coming from the guys in the field right now. So I would say this. I do not think Jeff is alone in that opinion at all. But I also think the game has changed, and we kind of do this all the time. Everyone will always look back to the way it was when they were younger and think, man, that was the best time. And that's never going to stop happening.
who can count to 49. That's what Evan Grant did.
Oh, I was
Chicago.
Like, you can't see your toes, though. How are you going to get past 10?
I literally just counted fans in the outfield seats. This is from Evan Grant, our friend who covers the Rangers. He said there were 49 fans out there. Never been able to do that before. Bad luck. I mean, they suspended the game, so the last minute, obviously, they're playing in the afternoon there. The team's, I heard, not that good this year. It's not good, though. I mean, you don't want to see that.
No, it's awful.
Yeah.
It's awful.
Also, it's Chicago summer. Like it.
Yeah, but school hadn't started
no,
yet. No, school starts.
That's what I'm saying.
But it was a 4:00 game, suspended game.
Dude, you know
COVID.
Chicago, okay?
COVID.
And I know it's,
there was more people there when COVID was happening.
Well, they're at least where the cardboard
that's
cutouts.
That's what I'm saying. I was right behind home plate.
Yeah, but okay, you know Chicago summers are. If you give people an excuse for a 4:00 game on a Wednesday,
and especially the weather was good too,
and the weather was good, you can fill a place up pretty quickly out there.
Yeah,
it's a vibe out there in the summer. They live for the summer, so that should just tell you where everyone's at right now.
Yes, agreed.
But they're also cursed as a team for not one but two reasons. And notice that we talked about all the good stuff and all the real ball. And then we just get to this at the finish line because people did ask about it, and I do think it's worth documenting. The crowd, the catch, Travis Jankowski. What?
This is one of the best catches you'll ever see.
And one of the best calls of the year, too, from the Dave Raymond of the Rangers broadcast.
I didn't hear that. I only
just brought the game back.
Oh, I was watching the White Sox broadcast.
Oh, okay.
And the best part of this whole thing is, besides this catch was incredible, that guy, Andrew Vaughn, had no idea. He was in this trot. Like, Andrew Vaughn was already, like, throwing the confetti. He's like, I'm going to get the water dumped on me. And he hits first, and he looks up, and he's like, wait, what? He caught it? Wait, no. And then they showed the guy in the bullpen for the White Sox, De Los Santos, and he's like celebrating, and he's like, no way. Dude, listen, neither team's making the postseason this year, but that catch to keep a game, win a game, it was one of the best catches I've ever seen, especially live. Because when Andrew Vaughn hit that, I was like, oh, game over. The White Sox are finally going to win, after trailing this and that, finally going to walk a team off. And then, Jankowski went way over, too.
That was a sick catch. Hey, he helped the Rangers win a ring last year. He was a piece.
That catch was amazing. Cenk, I wish you would respond to my text messages and come on the show because you're an absolute peach. But there couldn't be more White Sox than what happened in the game. The fact that they're playing in front of that many in the crowd, the fact that their starter the night before threw 4 pitches and got rained out, which we hit on yesterday, the fact that Sosa, the second baseman, got hit in the face by a throw from the catcher. I feel bad for him. I feel bad for Andrew Vaughn not getting a home run. Like, that sucks. What an amazing catch. But it just wraps up. Let's just finish the rest of the season now. But the White Sox season is just wrapped up in this throw. Robinson, not even I
think he didn't throw it hard. Watch this. Doink.
Still, I feel bad. He got smashed right on the nose, right?
No, I think it hit the top of the hat.
Oh, it hit the top, but
I thought it hit
maybe in the nose. I don't know where it hit him. But
direct shot there. That's not fun. Oh, he's kind of flinching like it's his nose. No.
Yeah, I don't know.
You guys do that, 10 billion times.
I've never seen that happen.
You ever seen it? No,
I've never. Because I would always, even if they weren't looking, you always made sure. Because usually you just go like this, right? Or you just stick your arm out, and the guy gives it back to you. And if he doesn't give it back to you, you just sit there and wait until you see him. They don't usually go right back to you, and then they know, hey, it's coming down either this one or the next one. And you just, because it's just real quick. Because in Little League, everyone's like, coming down.
Yeah.
In the big leagues, you just go like this. Even in the minor leagues, and then the guy gives it back to you, or they'll give you something so they're looking, so to throw. But go ahead, Kratz, were you gonna yell?
Ball's in, coming down on 2. That's what they always yell in Little League, and I'm like, please stop doing that because we're not going to do that anymore. Like, you're going to put your arms out, you're going to throw it. Jimmy Rollins used to always, if he were covering, Chase usually covered in between innings, and Jimmy Rollins would always. He would go, he'd give it to me, and then he would, as I'm coming up to throw, he'd give one of these. He'd be like he'd look away, and he'd always try to get me to flinch. He thought that was so funny in between innings. He thought that was a great game. But AJ, did you ever throw the ball that soft down to second? Robinson's not like.
I mean,
that's your chance to practice it. To me, that's your chance to practice it.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, listen, I don't know. I mean, listen, they're in line for 104 today. I mean, they're already at 103, and we're not even into September yet. So the bigger question is, and I know we talk about them way too much. I mean, are we looking at 125?
In that range, yeah. I mean, are they giving you any signs that things are turning around?
It's just gosh.
My whole thing is like, you're a young player though. Come on, you gotta pay attention. Like, you're in the big league. Have fun. We're still here, and yes, earlier we charged the mound, so it is powered by Tiza. Want to shout out our friends over there, so we haven't talked about them in a minute. No nicotine, no tobacco. It smells good. It's energy. It's focus. Our special Tiza packs have wintergreen and tropical, both in one multi-pack. Kratz always has it on him as well. It's a company that's been near and dear to our heart. It was one of the first sponsors of FT, and you can go use still our discount code at TizaEnergy.com. Use that code FOUL, but also you can get, there it is, discount code FOUL for 20% off your first order at TizaEnergy.com. But we loved them so much that we worked on this little custom FT Tiza pouch. So they're still out there. If you want to go grab one, hang it up, give it a shot. But we will never promote tobacco or nicotine products. So this is the answer. Big fan of the company. They're crushing it too. Since we joined forces with them, a year and a half ago, they're making moves. You can find them all over convenience stores, big box stores, online, the whole deal. So anyway, just want to give them some extra love today just because we appreciate them. And then lastly, we got 1 minute to go before Dodgers territory, which is our competition for live viewers because they're crushing it lately. So I will happily allow our teammates to thrive, just like Mookie Betts watching Shohei Ohtani or something like that. I did pull up the payroll tracker just for quiz purposes. I just wanted to see, do you guys know what the top payrolls look like right now? Do you want to guess top 10, the teams that are 200 plus payroll?
Mets, Yankees,
yep.
Phillies,
Red Sox,
Yankees,
Phillies,
Red
Dodgers.
Sox. Not the Red Sox. Dodgers are in there. Phillies are in there. You got the Mets and Yankees.
Cardinals.
Nope.
No, the Cardinals are lower than the Padres.
Missing a lot of teams,
the Padres
guys.
were over 200 though.
Yeah, the Cardinals are ahead of the
Missing number 3.
Mets, Yankees.
This one's going to surprise you, I think.
Dodgers.
Yeah, you got that. Number 3 is the Astros.
Oh, the Astros, yeah.
250 plus.
Yeah.
And I'll give you 6 through 10. I don't think you guys got any of 6
Texas
through 10.
is high.
Texas is 8. Braves are 6.
Braves.
Cubs are 7.
Yeah. By the way, happy birthday. You didn't even say this, Kratz. Your boy's birthday today.
So did me. I texted him.
Yep.
I texted
Hunter
him.
Brown, he's pitching on his birthday tonight for the Astros.
Oh.
Speaking of the Astros.
There you go. Happy birthday, Hunter. Great season turnaround. Thanks, FT fam. We'll see some of you on Friday. And go watch Dodgers territory right now. Just hang out and flip over to DT.